The stars were calm near the border of the Varkan Empire, silent and peaceful like every other night in deep space. Patrol ship V-97 moved slowly across the dark region, its lights blinking like tiny fireflies in the void. The alien crew inside was bored, talking softly, thinking this night would be like all the others. But then the sensors began to shake. At first it was a small vibration, something the crew thought was a technical glitch. Then the alarm flashed red across the control room. The captain, a tall gray-skinned alien named Rotan, turned quickly and stared at the screen. There was something out there in the darkness, something big. The scanner struggled to read the object, the numbers shaking like they were afraid. Rotan narrowed his eyes and ordered a deep scan. When the image finally loaded, the entire crew froze. It looked like a shadow, but not a normal one. This shadow was moving, bending the light around it, swallowing the starlight as it traveled. Nothing that size should be able to move that smoothly. Nothing that size should exist at all. The crew whispered in fear as the mass grew larger on the screen. "Is it a planet?" one officer asked with shaking hands. "No," Rotan replied quietly. "It is coming toward us." The shadow kept growing, getting closer, getting clearer. Every second felt heavier, thicker, like the air inside the ship turned into stone. Rotan sent out a message to the entire Varkan command, warning them of the incoming object. But before the message was finished, the world outside the patrol ship changed. A blinding flash of white light ripped the darkness open. The ship shook as space itself bent and twisted like a sheet of paper. Then, with a deep sound like thunder trapped in a vacuum, the object appeared. The Varkan crew stared in horror. It was not a meteor, not a planet, not a space station. It was a warship, a colossal warship, so huge that the patrol ship looked like a grain of sand next to a mountain. Its body was made of dark metal that seemed to drink the stars. Its surface carried massive cannons, energy shields, and glowing blue engines the size of cities. Every alien officer felt their legs weaken. The ship slowly rotated, revealing markings along its hull. Markings no one expected to see again. A glowing blue symbol shaped like a flag, a human flag, inside the patrol ship. The room fell silent. For hundreds of years, the entire galaxy believed humans were gone, wiped out during the Great Collapse. Legends said humans were fearless, powerful, unpredictable. Some said humans built ships so strong they could tear moons apart, but no one had actually seen a human in 3 centuries. Now, one of their warships had returned, and it was bigger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Rotan tried to speak, but his voice broke. "Impossible," he whispered. "Humans are extinct." But the ship outside was real, solid, terrifying. Its engines hummed with a deep vibration that felt like it could break a planet in half. The Varkan patrol ship received a signal request, a communication from the giant warship. The aliens hesitated, staring at each other, afraid to answer. The signal repeated, stronger, sharper, like a heartbeat in the void. Rotan finally accepted the message, his hand shaking as he pressed the control panel. The screen flickered, then a voice echoed through the patrol ship. A human voice, calm, deep, and powerful. "This is Commander Adrian Locke of the Earth Defense Fleet." The crew felt chills run across their skin. A human was speaking, alive, confident, commanding. "You are in restricted space," the voice continued, slow and steady. "Do not resist." The message ended, leaving only the heavy silence of fear behind. Rotan swallowed hard, unable to think. Why had humans returned after so long? Why with a warship this powerful? And why here, near Varkan territory? Inside every alien mind, the same thought repeated. If this is only one human ship, how many more exist? What if humans were never dead, only hidden, evolving, preparing? The warship suddenly began to scan the area, firing beams of light across nearby planets and drifting asteroids. The beams were silent but powerful, shaking the space around them like waves in water. The Varkan crew watched everything with terror and fascination. The ship moved with the confidence of a predator, slow but unstoppable, as if it knew no one could challenge it, as if it owned the space around it. Rotan stepped closer to the window and whispered to himself, "Why have humans come back?" Before anyone could answer, the giant warship sent another message, shorter this time, colder. "We are not your enemy." The screen turned black. Outside, the human warship waited, silent, massive, mysterious. The Varkan crew felt the weight of destiny pressing on their chests. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The Varkan Empire's High Council chamber was in chaos. Alarms echoed through the halls as officers ran with reports in their hands, speaking fast and shaking with fear. Every screen in the chamber showed the same terrifying image: the colossal human warship floating silently at the border like a sleeping giant. The council members, tall reptilian beings with sharp scales and proud expressions, now looked pale and terrified. Councillor Serek, the oldest member, slammed his hand on the table. "This cannot be real," he growled, but his voice trembled. "Humans vanished 300 years ago. Then explain that monster in our sky," another councillor replied, pointing at the hologram of the massive ship. Its glowing engines, an immense hull filled the room with a sense of doom. Commander Rotin's recorded message played again. The strange shadow, the warship appearing from war. The human voice saying, "Do not resist." The sound made the room fall quiet. Never in Varkan history had a single message caused so much fear. The Varkan Emperor entered the chamber, his armor shining under the lights. He listened without speaking, his cold eyes fixed on the hologram. After the report ended, he took a deep breath. "We need answers," he said. "Send a diplomatic vessel, but prepare our fleet." "Are we preparing for war?" Serek asked, his voice caught between fear and anger. "We prepare for everything," the Emperor replied. "If humans returned with a ship that size, it means they want something." Meanwhile, in space, the colossal human warship floated calmly, silent, waiting, watching. Its dark metal reflected no light, making it look like a massive hole in reality. The Varkan fleet began to gather around the borders, hundreds of ships forming defensive lines, but compared to the human ship, they looked small, fragile, unprepared. Inside the human warship, Commander Adrian Locke stood on the bridge. He was tall, with sharp eyes and a calm presence. His crew worked quietly around him, focused, precise, professional. These humans looked different from ancient stories. Their uniforms were advanced, their technology far beyond anything the galaxy knew. They had the confidence of people who had survived the impossible status of alien reaction. Adrian asked in a steady voice. His officer replied, "They are gathering warships, but maintaining distance." Adrian nodded slowly. "They fear us, as expected, but they must not fire," he added. "Too many innocent lives." The crew nodded with respect. This was the new humanity, powerful but disciplined, strong but patient. A communication request appeared on the bridge. "Commander, the Varkan diplomatic vessel is trying to contact us." Adrian allowed the transmission, his expression unreadable. The screen opened to show a Varkan ambassador, his scales shaking. "This is the Varkan Empire. State your purpose," the alien said. Trying to sound brave but failing, Adrian spoke calmly. "We are here to warn you." "Warn us? About what?" the ambassador asked. "About something coming," Adrian replied, his eyes serious. "Something older than your empire, older than your history." The Varkan ambassador exchanged nervous glances with those behind him. They had expected a demand, a threat, maybe revenge, but a warning was something far more confusing. "What do you mean?" he asked quietly. Adrian turned to one of his officers, who activated a hologram. Dark shapes appeared on the screen, monstrous forms moving through space like living shadows. Even the human crew stiffened at the sight. "These," Adrian said, "are called the Void Creatures." The Varkan ambassador felt his breath stop. He had heard old myths, old stories from extinct races, but never believed them. "You fought these," he whispered. Adrian nodded. "For centuries, we fought them, and we won, but not without cost. When we disappeared, it was not your war that killed us," Adrian explained. "It was the Void, and now they are coming back." Silence filled both sides of the call. The ambassador swallowed hard. "So you returned to fight again?" Adrian nodded slowly. "We return because this galaxy cannot face them alone. You need us, and we need you." Back on the Varkan flagship, Councillor Serek listened to the transmission with narrowed eyes. "Humans helping us. Impossible," he muttered. But deep inside, even he knew the truth. If those creatures were real, no fleet in the galaxy could stop them. Not even the Varkan Empire with all its power. In the shadows of the command room, a younger officer whispered, "What if humans are lying? What if this is a trap?" Serek did not answer. He did not believe humans were lying, but he also did not trust them. Fear and pride twisted inside him like a storm. Meanwhile, the colossal human warship moved slightly. Its engines hummed with a deep vibration that echoed across space. The ship was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Watching it felt like watching a sleeping titan that could wake up at any moment. Every alien crew member across the border knew one thing: humans were back, and whatever happened next would change the galaxy forever. The galaxy held its breath as news spread that humans were alive. Every empire, every colony, every pirate group, every trading station watched the footage of the colossal human warship floating in vacant space. Whispers spread like fire. How did humans survive? Where were they for 300 years? What do they want now? But no one had real answers. Only fear, only questions, only rumors. Inside the Varkan flagship, Counselor Sarek stared at the screen, replaying the human message. His claws tapped the table nervously, a sound that echoed through the silent room. The image of the void creatures hovered in front of him, dark shapes that looked like living nightmares. Sarek finally spoke. "If these creatures return, we will fall." The Emperor nodded slowly. "And humans may be the only ones who can stop them." Meanwhile, inside the human warship, Commander Adrian Locke walked through a long corridor filled with glowing blue lights. Human soldiers stood on each side, wearing armor that looked advanced and powerful. Their faces were calm, but their eyes carried memories of battles older than the Varkan Empire itself. Adrian entered a chamber where a giant hologram displayed the entire galaxy. A cluster of red marks flashed in the distant regions, deep beyond the borders. The Void, the ancient enemy, awakening again. Adrian's second-in-command, Captain Mira Hale, stepped beside him. "They are moving faster than last time," she said quietly. Adrian nodded. "This galaxy has no idea what's coming." Mira lowered her voice. "Should we tell them the full truth?" Adrian sighed, a heavy, tired sound. "We must. They deserve to know why we vanished." A communication request came from the Varkan Emperor himself. Adrian accepted, and the holographic form of the Emperor appeared before him. The alien ruler stood tall, proud, but there was fear in his eyes. "Human Commander," the Emperor said, "explain your purpose in our territory." Adrian looked directly into the Emperor's eyes, calm and steady. "We are here because the Void is returning. But that is not the only reason," Adrian added, his voice becoming heavier. "The truth is, humanity never died." The Emperor's expression changed from suspicion to shock. Adrian continued, 300 years ago, we detected a massive void awakening. It was stronger than anything we had ever faced. The old Earth Alliance knew the galaxy would not be ready, so we made a choice." Mira Hale stepped forward and activated a hologram of Earth. The planet looked peaceful, beautiful, alive. "Earth did not fall," she said. "We evacuated, we hid, we built." Adrian's voice grew deeper. "We left the galaxy to protect it. We went into the dark places where the void was growing. We fought them where no one could see." The Emperor listened with wide eyes. "You fought in secret for centuries," he whispered. Adrian nodded. "And we almost lost everything. Our fleets were destroyed. Many worlds died. Our people scattered, but we survived. And now the void has changed, evolved, and it is coming back with more power than before." The Emperor tightened his fists. "Why return now?" Adrian answered softly. "Because this time, the galaxy cannot face the void alone, and humanity cannot win alone." Back on the Varkan flagship, Counselor Sarek replayed the transmission. He felt a strange heaviness in his chest, a mixture of fear and respect. Humans had fought a war that no one else even knew existed. They suffered in silence, far away, while the rest of the galaxy argued over borders, trade routes, and petty conflicts. A young Varkan officer asked, "Do you believe them?" Counselor Sarek closed his eyes for a moment. "I believe their ship," he said quietly. "No species builds something like that unless they have seen something far worse in the human warship." Adrian walked to a large viewing window. Outside, millions of stars stretched across the darkness. "So many worlds," he whispered to himself. "So many lives that do not know what is coming." Myra joined him. "Do you think they will side with us?" she asked. Adrian thought for a long moment. "Fear will push them," he said, "but trust will take longer." Mira nodded. "They still see us as a threat." Adrian sighed. "And we cannot blame them. When humanity left, we left suddenly. We never explained why. We never said goodbye." Mira lowered her eyes. "It must be strange for them. Humans vanish for centuries, then return with a warship larger than any empire has ever seen." Adrian nodded slowly. "And now we ask them to believe us." Meanwhile, the Varkan Council met again. Their screens still showed the human warship watching silently. The Emperor finally spoke. "We do not trust them, but we cannot ignore them. The void threat must be confirmed." An advisor asked, "And if humans tell the truth?" The Emperor looked at the massive ship on the screen. "Then humanity may be the only hope we have." As the meeting ended, a tremor shook the space outside the border. Sensors began to beep, lights flickered, alarms activated. A strange energy ripple appeared far beyond the stars, like a storm forming in the dark, a storm that did not belong to nature, a storm that felt alive. Every alien officer froze. They all felt it, a cold presence, a hungry presence, something old, something evil, something waking, and far away, deep in the human warship. Adrian Locke whispered only one sentence: "They are coming." The first tremor hit like a whisper from the dark, a soft vibration across the borders of Vulcan space, so light that most scanners ignored it. But then the second tremor came, stronger, deeper, heavier, like something enormous moving behind a curtain of shadows. Every ship in the Vulcan fleet felt it. Every officer felt the cold creeping through the walls. Something was coming, something alive, ancient and hungry, on the human warship. Alarms lit the bridge in a soft red glow. Commander Adrian Locke stood straight, staring at the hologram. Black energy waves were rising in the distant regions like storms being born. His crew moved quickly, their faces serious but steady. "They arrived earlier than expected," Myra said, her voice tight. Adrian nodded slowly. "They are changing, adapting, learning, and they are coming for the galaxy." Outside, space rippled like water. A long tear opened across the darkness, stretching wider and wider. Then something crawled out, something massive, shaped like a shadow but moving like a living creature. It had no eyes, no mouth, no body in the normal sense. It was made of emptiness, like darkness given shape. Its presence bent the stars behind it, twisting light as it moved. The Vulcan fleet panicked instantly. Ships scattered, engines firing, forming defensive formations. But the void creature did not slow. It moved with calm confidence, like a predator that already knew the world belonged to it. Inside the Vulcan flagship, Counselor Serek gripped the rail tightly. His voice cracked as he shouted, "Open fire!" Hundreds of Vulcan ships released beams, missiles, plasma strikes, and energy blasts toward the void creature. Explosions flashed across space like fireworks, shaking the darkness. But when the light faded, nothing had changed. The creature kept moving, untouched, unbothered, unstoppable. It absorbed everything. An officer cried in terror. It didn't even slow down. Serek stared in horror. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We have never seen anything like this on the human warship." Adrian watched the Vulcan attacks disappear into the creature's shadow-like surface. He finally spoke, his voice low and calm. "Prepare the gravity cannon." The human officers immediately activated systems across the colossal ship. Massive machinery deep inside the hull began to power up. The engines darkened, lights flickered. The entire warship hummed with an ancient force. Mira turned to Adrian. "You intend to fire now?" Adrian nodded. "If we wait, entire fleets will fall." Mira looked out the window where the void creature drifted closer, toward the Vulcan ships. "It will see us as a threat," she warned. Adrian answered quietly, "It already has." Back in Vulcan space, panic spread wildly. Ships attempted to pull back, but the void creature released a wave of black energy. The wave moved slowly at first, then accelerated with deadly speed. It passed through several Vulcan ships, like smoke moving through air. The ships dimmed, their lights flickered, and then they went completely silent. Not destroyed, not broken, just empty. Every living soul inside vanished, gone without a sound, without a trace. A silence more terrifying than any explosion. The Vulcan flagship trembled as the wave passed nearby. Serek felt his heart stop. "What kind of monster is this?" he whispered. "It takes life." An officer replied in horror. "It doesn't destroy matter. It destroys the living." Adrian watched the scene from his bridge. His jaw clenched slightly. "We warned them," he said softly, "but warnings are never enough." He raised his hand. Fire! The human warship unleashed the gravity cannon. A massive beam of twisted space exploded forward, warping everything it touched. The beam was not light, not energy, but pure gravitational force. It bent reality as it shot toward the void creature. The creature froze for the first time. The beam hit it directly, crushing space around it, pressing its dark form inward. A deep, silent shockwave rippled outward. The creature trembled, distorting violently. It let out a soundless scream that shook every ship for millions of kilometers. Even the human crew felt chills crawl up their spines. The creature cracked open like shattered glass. Pieces of shadow drifted away, dissolving into dust, and for a moment, everyone believed it was over. The Varkan fleet cheered, some cried, some collapsed with relief. Even Counselor Serek felt his legs weaken.